Hey Chris.
Hey Brian, how you doing?
Good, good. I'm here with Chris Devine, and he works as a solution engineer for the Proven Solutions team. We've just completed a new set of documentation and a new set of tests. Can you tell us a little bit about what we did?
Sure, I'll just throw the document up here. You like the long name, but I think, quickly what we did is we virtualized Exchange 2010 on a VMAX, and we used our new virtual provisioning technology to try to come up with a very powerful but consolidated work environment. I think we really did a nice job showing you how these three V's, the VMAX, virtual provisioning, and VMware can really give you some good cost savings, flexibility, and availability.
Great. So specific to virtual provisioning, what did we find there? What was the big benefit of doing virtual provisioning?
I think there were a couple of big benefits, but the major one is basically with Exchange 2010, people are going to be looking for larger mailboxes, which means they're going to need a lot more storage. But they're going to be moving from a much smaller mailbox. So if I can provision just enough storage for, say, a 1 gig mailbox and give you the ability to grow into a 5 gig mailbox and save you many hundreds of terabytes of initial cost, where you can buy that down the line and save on power and cooling, I think we've given you a nice benefit there.
So you're saying with kind of the non-virtual provisioned way, when you have to allocate what thick, you have to pre-allocate the whole thing up front?
Exactly. So if you were, for instance, had 5,000 users and you wanted 5 gig mailboxes for your users, you'd be looking at close to 40 terabytes of space to be able to handle those 5,000 users with 5 gig mailboxes. With virtual provisioning, we can allocate enough for, say, a 1 gig mailbox and grow that as you need it. So you would require, say, 7 terabytes. So you're looking at a huge difference between having to allocate 40 terabytes up front or 7 now and increments of, say, 7 or 10 down the road.
And so you'd set up something like maybe alerts to monitor that environment so that the storage or Exchange team can kind of get alerted when to add new
Exactly,
storage.
and with the VMAX and its pools, it's very easy to add storage to the pools where the Exchange users are grabbing their storage from. Really, it's just a three-step process.
Great. So do we find anything interesting about virtual provisioning in this case? Like, was there overhead to do something to do with that?
So one of the things that we were thinking about, and one of the goals we had, is to validate the effect of virtual provisioning. It's a newer technology, and is it going to require more overhead from an I/O perspective? Are we going to need more spindles? And what we found is, from an I/O perspective, it was exactly the same as thick or regular LUNs. Again, the details are in the document, and we saw a slight increase in the response times when running jet stress, but overall it was really just a one-for-one.
Okay, kind of a pretty good trade-off for the management and for the flexibility to grow.
Absolutely. Anyone who's considering, especially a VMAX, really needs to consider using thin pools and thin LUNs. Really some nice benefits there.
Great. So how about on the virtual server side? What were we able to achieve with consolidation and things like that?
I think pretty impressive. We were able to consolidate 20,000 very heavy Exchange users on a single ESX server. So what we did is we put 4 VMs on an ESX server with 5,000 users each. This was more than we were getting with Exchange 2007, and I think with the advancements in both VMware and the hardware, these consolidations are certainly something that customers can see easily a 4-to-1 from physical to virtual.
Great. So the other question I had was around the size of this. This is, what, 120,000 users here?
It is, and I think really we wanted to show the power of the array and the ability of the array to handle a very large number of Exchange IOPS. But the way that we've designed our building blocks and our VMs, you can certainly look at this methodology and go from 2,500 users all the way up to 500,000 users. And the design methodology that we use is really transferable to other arrays. So I think, when you go through the document, there's a lot of good information on how do I build my VM, how do I build my storage infrastructure to be able to support these, whatever number of users you have with whatever profile you might be looking for.
Okay, I think that's all I had for today. Thanks a lot for your time.
Great, thanks a lot. And again, if you're interested, I think there's a lot of good information in the paper to help you virtualize your Exchange 2010 environment.
All right, we make sure we put a link to that in the notes here.
Thanks.
Thank you.